Hey guys, and welcome back. In today's video we are going to show you how to clean a regular PlayStation 4. In the past we have made some videos about how to clean the PS4 Slim model, but I hadn't made one of how to clean the original style. Fortunately, my younger brother was able to pick one of these up at a yard sale pretty cheap. Got it for about 20 bucks. Runs pretty well, but it runs very loud, and so I think it's in need of a deep cleaning, and that will help it run a lot more smoothly. So in order to get this thing cleaned, we are going to need a few tools: a Swiffer sweeper, a toothbrush, a small Phillips screwdriver, a utility knife, some canned air, and a Torx security driver. Now this is not a regular screwdriver, and it will be very necessary in order to take apart the PlayStation. So in the description of this video I have a link to where you can get a kit that includes this style screwdriver. Alright, so now that we've got the tools ready to go, let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that we're going to do is clean out the hard drive, and to do that we are going to take the plastic part here on the top and pull sideways, and this piece will just come off. I had already cleaned this out, but you will probably have some dust here. Go ahead and take your Swiffer sweeper and clean that out. Once you have that part clean, you can set it off to the side. So you can see here that we've got a metal plate that protects a good chunk of the motherboard. And then here we have the hard drive that sits in a little tray, and it is held in by one Phillips head screw. So we can go ahead and take our screwdriver, remove that screw, and then slide the hard drive out. Now you can go ahead and take a little cloth, something, clean your hard drive, set it off to the side. Then go ahead and take your Swiffer sweeper and just kind of give that a dusting across the outside. See if you can get that clean. Go ahead and take your toothbrush and along the air intake across the side, go ahead and scrub any loose dust that may be there. And then finally take your canned air and go ahead and blow loose dust out of there. Now once we've got that part clean, we're going to go ahead and take that hard drive, slide it right back into place, replace this screw, and put that plastic cover back on. Alright, so that cleaned out the hard drive tray. Typically those don't get too dirty. Most of the dust is in the fan, the air intake, and the power supply. And to reach those, we're going to go ahead and flip our PlayStation upside down. So now that we have it flipped over, you can see there are 3 screws here on the back. Now your screws may be covered by a plastic coating. You can go ahead and take a little utility knife or something that's flat and hard and just kind of pry those stickers loose. It's not too difficult. If you do use a utility knife, be careful that you don't cut yourself, obviously. And then also be aware that by removing the stickers, you void your warranty. So if your PlayStation is less than a year old, which if it's an original model, I doubt that's the case, just be aware of that. This came from a yard sale, was several years old, so I'm not too concerned about the warranty. Once we have those 3 stickers removed, we're going to go ahead and take our Torx driver and remove the Torx screws that are holding this case in place. Now we'll just set these screws off to the side. Alright, so now that we have those removed, let's go ahead and we're going to pry up on the case very gently. And this bottom of the case should come off, and that is about what I expected to see. I mean, you can see the bottom portion of the case is very dusty. I mean, there's a significant amount of dust. It's blocking even some of the electrical conduits. That is in desperate need of a cleaning. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and set this off to the side. Let's take a look at the inner workings of the case. You can see that the fan here is very clogged with dust. I mean, the blades themselves have a significant amount of dust. Around the optical drives here has a lot of dust, and I'm sure that this power supply is also going to be coated. So let's go ahead and start by taking our canned air and just blowing off what will come off. Woo! You could see, I mean, we removed a significant amount of dust just by doing that. Now, one thing to be aware of, as you blow out your PlayStation, you may want to put your finger here on the fan so that it doesn't spin. A lot of people are concerned that the spinning fan can create an electrical current that can short out things on your motherboard. So it's better to be safe than sorry. Just hold your fan still as you use the canned air. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and take our toothbrush, just run it along some of these air intakes. See if we can loosen any dust that may be caked on there, as well as the ports here along the back and the side. And another round of canned air. And another round of dust coming out of this thing. If you'd like, you can blow some canned air here across the back through that power supply. And so now you can see things are looking quite a bit better. The optical drives are much cleaner. The fan still has a little bit of dust there in the blades, but it's significantly cleaner. There's not dust bunnies hiding in between the blades of the fan. So now I'm going to go ahead and start working on the power supply. Now, to remove the power supply, you have 3 more Torx screws and then 2 Phillips screws. So let's go ahead and remove those Phillips screws first. And you can go ahead and lift up on the silver tab and set that to the side. Thing with the second screw. Now that we have the 2 Phillips screws removed, we're going to go ahead and start on the Torx. 1, 2, Now, one thing to be aware of as we lift out the power supply is this black cable that's here on the side. We want to be gentle that we don't rip those. And then the best way to do it is to lift the power supply up evenly. And that way it will come out. If you try and lift just one side, it's going to kind of wedge itself in there. But if you kind of take it slow and lift up evenly, you'll see that this can just roll over and set off to the side just like that. Now I'm going to rotate this. So you can see here that we have the air intake for the fan, and there's quite a bit of dust that's built up around that. And then we've got the inside of the power supply unit itself that needs to be blown out. So the first thing that I'm going to do is go ahead and just take my toothbrush and kind of run it through these blades here, trying to loosen any dirt that may be in those. Then we're going to go ahead and take our canned air and blow the dust out through that unit right there. Across the back of the case, we've got quite a bit of dust. Loosen it with the Swiffer, with the toothbrush, and the canned air. And we'll blow a little bit through this. Alright, so you can see this looks a lot better. The cooling rods are clean. There's a lot less dust caked in there. Across the back of the case, you may not be able to see it, but is also very clean. So now let's go ahead and work on the power supply. Now, the best thing for the power supply is just the canned air. You probably don't want to be sticking too many things into that. So go ahead and just take your canned air and blow out those inner workings there. And now that we have that cleaned, we're going to go ahead and slide the power supply back down and press it till we hear a little click. Let's replace these 2 screws and these 3 Torx. And overall, I mean, this looks significantly better. We still got a little bit of dust here on the back that we'll just run the Swiffer over. Maybe take the toothbrush, the canned air one more time. Now, if you want to get really detailed, you can take some Q-tips and some rubbing alcohol and clean the individual blades of the fan. I'm not going to take the time to do that, mostly because it's not mine, and that looks pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and wipe out this case. And you can see, I mean, that Swiffer, there was a lot of dust that was sitting on the inside of this thing. Alright, so you can see we've got the bottom of that case cleaned out. We're going to go ahead and slide it. And to put it back on, you're going to hook the front part so that it stays. And then just press down. And that back, you should hear maybe a little snap as it falls into place. And then we're going to go ahead and replace these 3 Torx screws. All right, now let's give it one more quick wipe. Hopefully your Swiffer or your microfiber cloth looks better than mine. This one's pretty shot at this point, but there we go. Now this PlayStation should run a lot more smoothly. I mean, we took a significant amount of dust off the hard drive, out of the power supply, off the CPU and the heatsink, and so that heat was going to cause this to run slowly and may even cause it to shut down occasionally. And so this will run a lot more smoothly. Now, while we have this cleaned from all the dust, it is a great time to rebuild the database on our hard drive. It's a very simple procedure, but it's going to optimize the files on your drive and help your hard drive itself run a lot more smoothly. So in the description of this video, I will have a link to where you can rebuild the hard drive. It's a very simple process, and I recommend doing that every few months. But that is how you take one of these apart, get it cleaned, and put it back together. I hope that this was helpful. If it was, please consider subscribing, liking the video. Helps our channel, helps me make more things like this. I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch, and we'll see you next time.